Good morning, everybody. How are you? I just wanted to come on live this morning and get a look at how my lighting and setup might work for tomorrow. So I wanted to play in the craft room, and I thought this would be a good chance to see how things might work. I have what looks like a really hot mess here, trying to figure out framing and all that silly stuff. Close enough so you can see what I'm doing, but not close enough to count my nose hairs. That's where we're headed here. So I had some real fun yesterday. I had to go to the dentist, which was not the fun part, but nonetheless, I went to the dentist, and it just happened to be very close to a Dollar Tree. And most crafters find that you just can't pass up a Dollar Tree. So I couldn't. And I wasn't going to go in, really. I tried to be strong, but I didn't make it. And I was really glad that I did go in, because I'd been looking for a Dollar Tree in my area that had a section of stuff called Dollar Tree Plus, where the things were more than $1.25, but more usable maybe for projects. And so this particular one had a Dollar Tree Plus aisle, and in it they had all of their fall and Halloween type items, and they were buy one get one free. So I was really excited about that. So I picked up a couple of these tic-tac-toe sets, and I also picked up some little wood framed panels that we're going to do something with later, with or without the details. But I was super excited to find those, and I thought today I was going to come out here and play around anyway and start on this set. So I thought I would just click on the live button and see how it went. So if you look right up here and it says live in a red box, it's me. I'm really here right now, and we can chit chat and talk. If not, you can probably catch it later. I'll try to save it to a replay, although I'm still figuring that out. And then you can watch it again. So I'm going to just go ahead and get started and let you come with me while I play around here a little bit with these. They had two sets when I was there. One was really cute with squirrels and acorns, and I liked that one too, but I really liked this one because we have these cute little leaves and we have pumpkins. These are made out of what feels like an MDF board. They're fairly thick, definitely feel sturdy enough to hold up to our playing around. So let me just get all of our little pieces out here. While we start our crafting business together, you and me, you'll find out that there's a few things that I use over and over and over and over and over again. And if you want to craft along with me at any time, these few things will help you out to have just the basics of things that you'll see me use quite often. First of all, we're going to start, and we'll just go through what we need as we actually work. So I'm going to take all of my little shapes, regardless of what my plans are for them, and I'm going to coat them in a coat of chalk paint. This is a Walmart brand, Waverly. The color is Plaster. They make a true white, but this is just my favorite color. And no matter what we do with them, ooh, and it's painted shut. Isn't that just great? There we go. No matter what we do afterwards with them, the basic first coat of paint will be best for us to work on from there in layers and layers. So I'm just going to load up my brush. It is super thick paint, thicker than a Dairy Queen Blizzard. Couldn't shake that off there in a bit. And I'm just going to, oh yeah, it can see okay. I'm just going to take it, and I'm just going to roughly, it doesn't matter, this doesn't have to be perfect, we just are looking for a base coat to work with here. So and I'm also not going to worry about the sides at the moment, mainly because I don't know what I want to do with them, and I'd probably make a mess if I tried. So let's just be honest here. So I went to the dentist yesterday, and some of you guys will know that we recently moved. After 25 years in Southwest Missouri, we moved at the end of May this year to the Kansas City area to be closer to our more adult aged kids, and we really started over in just about every way, except the fact that we brought ourselves. We didn't bring hardly anything with us. We sold almost all of our furniture, brought just the bare bones of things, and we moved. My son Jordan and his wife Lauren purchased a beautiful home here in Lee Summit, and it has a little carriage house on the property. And so we have lived in and renovated the carriage house. And this summer it was very much like camping, which I don't camp, but it's fun. It's been a fun project, and it's a beautiful place. And this week we have our contractor here for the very last step of the process that requires a professional, and he is covering our industrial ceiling rafters this week, and that is super exciting to me. So when he's done and I clean, because let's be honest, I'd have to clean first. I want to invite you guys in to kind of just see everything from start to finish, because it is different. It is different for sure. But man, our little house sure feels like home, and we love being here. So I mentioned that I went to the dentist yesterday. Such a funny story. We hear things all the time, and sometimes we take them literally, and sometimes we don't. So I'm not a picky dental patient. I don't have a lot of dental issues usually. I'm not squeamish. Just let's get it done, right? That's kind of how I feel about it. So when we moved up here, I just needed to find a dentist that would take my insurance. That was my main thought. So I contacted my very helpful and wonderful insurance agent, and I asked for a list of providers, and one that came up was called the Dental Depot, and it's located in Little Town right next to us here. And I thought, okay, Dental Depot sounds good to me. I'll go over there and get my teeth cleaned and see what this is all about. And you guys, it was so funny, although you'll find that funny things happen to me a lot. So it's not out of the ordinary, but I had my GPS on because I'm not yet to the point in our journey that I trust myself to get where I'm going. And so I had GPS on, and it took me a very easy, direct route to get there. But I knew that I knew where I was going at a certain point, and I turned it off, which means at my age, I was squinting out the windshield, just making sure I didn't miss the place. The last GPS said it was about a mile. So, I knew where I was going. It was a main road. We got this, right? And I'm looking it's full of strip malls. So I'm just looking strip mall after strip mall after strip mall. I am looking for Dental Depot on the sign, and I'm just sure by now I have missed it. When I happen to look up and I see a real train depot station building, like real, like there's a train car in front of it in the parking lot. And sure enough, that was my stop at Dental Depot. And I got so tickled, but I pulled into the parking lot and went in, and this place was 100% train depot. They took it to every corner. So the greeter window where the receptionists sit had the beautiful carved window space, and it said, Dental Depot really big, like the name of the train station above where she greeted you. And so we went in, and I sat down. They had old-time wooden benches to sit on, very nice, very comfortable. And every piece of decor was train depot related. And it even had the train running that went around the ceiling. Every booth where you went in to meet with your hygienist or your cleaner was labeled like a gate number. And the little train went through every room. I kid you not. It was so cool and so entertaining and so funny. I'm going to take a quick second while we're chatting, and I'm just going to dry these. So I've taken all of my pieces. So hard to get where we can both see all of my pieces, and I have just coated them with chalk paint. Now I have this heat gun, and you don't need one. chalk paint will dry very, very quickly. It's one of the things you really like about it. It not only covers anything and sticks to any surface, but it dries super fast. So most of these that I started with, the pumpkins, are pretty much already dry, but I'm just gonna hit them with it. So if you want to craft along with me in the future, some things you'll see over and over again. One would be chalky paint, especially a base color, a beige, a white, a very light color. You can mix chalk paint colors just like any other paint color, and so just a few will get you a long way. If you already have regular acrylic paint, then you can go over chalk paint with acrylics, and that works too. I just had some, I'll show you, I just blobbed, imagine that. And so I'm just trying to clean those blobs up so they'll go ahead and dry. Now, the next layer that we're gonna do on these is we're gonna put a crackle finish on them. And what crackle does is it breaks, is what we're gonna do, is we're gonna break a top layer of paint. So I'm not 100% sure or positive that we really needed the white, but it's just something I always do, so I always did it. So right now I'm gonna put the color on that I want to show underneath when the paint cracks. So I just have some orange here, and I'm gonna start with my pumpkins. And I am just gonna put a little, let's hope it's not icky, there we go. I'm just gonna put a little blop on each one, so I can just coat those up with orange. So then after we do the next step, the orange is what we'll see through it. So for crafting along, I also recommend very few acrylic paints. Like I said, again, basic colors. I pretty much have a glorified Hobby Lobby supply in my life, and I like having all the supplies in the world at my fingertips, but you don't need them. I don't need them. So there, that's just the truth of it. So I'm thinking I want to put just a touch of brown on that stem. I'm not 100% positive how that's going to show, but I want to give it a try, and we're just playing, right? So coat of orange around the edges. I'm glad that you joined me. If you want to type a comment, or you can ask a question, or just chit chat, we can do that while I paint and carry on over here. So there's 3 and 4. And these take a few steps, but none of the steps are too long. So I'm just going to go ahead, while I've got a dirty paintbrush, I'm going to use it. All right. And then my thought for these leaves was that we would do kind of a splattery look. Hey Jan, how are you this morning? It's good to see you. Hi Shannon. And I'm just going to take a little orange that I already had here on this brush left over, and I'm just going to do some speckles. I mean, who knows? It may turn out a hot mess, and you know, half of what I do turns out a hot mess, and I'm okay with that, you know. The joy is in the creating, as much for me, or more maybe even, than the results. It's about spending some time out here where it's quiet and just me. I was telling you about our new house, and one of the things that we did was we brought in a storage shed, and because we had to have a place to put the little bit of stuff we did bring, and construction supplies and all that good stuff. And so that is now turned into my little crafting, we call it the craft hut. And that's where I'm at today. It is not completely set up the way I would like it to be for this, but if we wait for things to be perfect, guys, we ain't never gonna do nothing. We just gotta make the best of what we have at the time, right? And I don't want to miss the joy of, one, crafting, and 2, having the opportunity to hang out with friends and folks I don't get to see all the time. So I am gonna bring you right into my messy, chaotic craft space so that we can have some time together. So I just plopped out some red. This is just a little set of acrylic paints. I think I picked them up at like a Ross type place long time ago. 30 tubes, you know, for next to nothing there. And I am just continuing to add just some background color spots to my leaves. And I'm doing that hoping it doesn't turn into a mess. But like I said, I don't mind a mess. Okay, so speaking of messes, I miss talking to you guys. Can you tell? I have the gift of Gabola today. So yesterday I came out, and you probably maybe saw a little bit of the video that I did, and I was working right in this exact spot where I am now, but I was trying to get the height of this workspace up where you guys could actually see me and a little bit maybe of what I was doing. And now I've got some green paint, and I just had a little stack of boxes. That's all I had, and a little bit of brown. And I reached down to pick up the little plaque thing we're going to work on, and all of that little stuff you saw in there just slid right off the front of the table and into the floor. Those little hearts that I showed you, they were just in a bowl, and they are now just all over the place in here on the floor. Now, oh, that's kind of a blue-green kind of color. That's interesting. Unexpected. Definitely not the green I was thinking, but I like it, and I've got some real green over here at my feet. So I think we need some real green. We'll throw it in. What do you think? Real green, or do you like these fantasy leaf colors we got going here? Well, today I go back to the Dental Depot because I had a filling. After I just bragged about my great teeth, I actually went a whole lot of my adult life with no dental work in my head, but my teeth, like the rest of me, are starting to fall apart, I think. And so I have one decent size filling and one small one today. But isn't that cool? They could turn me around and get me right back in the next day. I appreciated that a lot. A lot. Oops. Okay, so you'll need a few paintbrushes if we're going to craft together, but as you can tell, I don't buy expensive paintbrushes, so there you go. All right, I'm going to take the brown, and I'm just going to hit my little stems here of my pumpkins. May or may not make any difference, but we're going to do it. We're not putting any details on because part of the crackle is that it covers all this stuff. So that's what we're going with here. So a little brown on the pumpkin stem. And then a little brown on these leaves, because get the stems of those and a few little dots here. That looks a mess. I hope that looks better when we're done than it does now, but we'll find out. We'll find out. The best thing about paint is it goes on in layers, and you can cover it up in layers. So I have a myriad of projects out here that have several layers. Kind of hit the tips of that with a little brown, because that's kind of what's happening to the leaves out here in our yard, the ones that have some color left now. The brown has definitely found the tips of the leaves and the edge of them. All right, now trying to figure out here how to cover the rest of my leaves without uncovering all of the work that we've done. And since I'm not sure, I'm gonna let it sit a minute while I think about it. Okay, so crackling technique is very simple, and it gives a great worn kind of rustic look to whatever kind of a project that you're doing. It's super fun. And if you play with it for a while, you can get just a bunch of different effects that will come with it. Okay, that's not bad. I think I am going to finish, because I want to have a pretty full background here. I'm just going to kind of brush over my fall leaves with kind of a basic coat. And I know they don't look beautiful at this point, but I think they will after we get them crackled. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get that done so they can dry. So crafting along, think about it. You need a little bit. I recommend some chalk paint. Just get one to start with, and I recommend that you grab a white or a plaster. Linen, I think, is a color that they have. Something like that, because a lot of the things that we do, we are going to base coat with that. Okay, you need a couple of paint brushes. And like I said, honestly and truly, they do not need to be fancy. I would rather use them and abuse them and then throw them away than to have to take really good care of them. So let's just be honest here. I'm not gonna be the one that's, you know, carrying my brushes around like my chef's knives in a beautiful package and taking that good care of them. I am just gonna use them and enjoy them and go from there. Okay, so I just added a little touch of yellow, and then I'm just kind of dry touching my brush to this, because I just want some color to come out behind of the crackle. Okay, that brush is in there. Now, the way we're gonna achieve our crackle is as the pieces dry, and I told you it's all really fast, these pumpkins are already dry enough to go with. We're just gonna take some good old white school glue. I have Walmart brand here, I have Elmer's brand here. I haven't found any difference in any brand or another. And we are just gonna paint a little bit of school glue on our projects. I'm gonna wait and let the leaves dry just a little bit before we do that. When you're putting on the glue, I want you to take a second and just be mindful, whatever direction you paint your glue is the direction that it's gonna crackle. That makes sense. So you can have some impact on how your project looks by the direction you brush your glue. And for these, I'm just gonna kind of go up and down. There are a lot of people who like to do it both directions. That's great. I'm kind of a one-way spackle kid, or spackle crackle kid, so I'm just gonna go one way. And I'm just gonna get all 5 of those with a coat. Okay, and now we have that. Oops, I forgot that stem. Okay, here we go. Just gonna finish that up. Now the trick to get a crackle is that we need to paint this glue while it's still at least partially wet. So trusty heat gun out again. I'm not drying the glue completely. I'm just kind of getting a crust on it. It should still feel really tacky to your fingers when you do this. And if you see any little places where, you know, you missed, you can still push that glue around. Okay, just a little bit. And I am just going to wipe the glue out of my brush that I'm using. And we're going to go right back in with our white chalky paint. And we're going to paint right over. You can see that glue, the thick white shiny part of the glue is still there, still wet. And I'm just now going to paint a layer of my white chalky paint, the exact same stuff I did underneath, on there like that, all the way up. You want a nice pretty thick coat. You see there's a couple of spaces here where it's not so thick. That's okay with me. It's okay, it won't really affect our end product any. right, so up and down. There, give it a good coat. All right, be sure to let me know anytime that you might catch this, what you would like to do. If there's any kind of a project that you would like to do. I've been thinking, gosh, you get 100 ideas going. But I've been making all of our own bread since we moved here. I use a really simple, very simple bread recipe strategy. And so I was thinking our first kitchen adventure might be that, because it is something we could do really simple and easy. I did post some pictures of the little craft fair that I did, which had a lot of my things that I've been working on in there. And if you saw something in there that you particularly liked or were curious about, let me know. I do want to work on some little of the notebooks with you, and so that's coming up. Okay, so if all went according to plan, magic should happen when I dry this glue. Let's see. You see it? You see how it's crackled through there, and now we have our orange paint coming through. Let's do another one. Let's see. See if I can do that without burning my fingers off. And the answer is maybe not. I may burn my fingers off. Ah, see, this one is crackling in a little different. So hard to figure out where to show you guys. All right. The thicker a coat you put on of your glue, the deeper and wider your crackles will crack. So there's 3 of our little pumpkins, and I'm going to let those sit. And I want to do one of our leaves, because I'm not feeling real whippy about how they're going to turn out. But you know, like I said, it's all fun and games. It's a tic-tac-toe board. I'm not curating art for the Smithsonian Institute. This is something that I'm going to set on my table this fall, and we can play while we're sitting there together. Okay. So I've got this messy leaf that I painted with the colors, and I'm just going to put my crackle on. I'm going to go up and down, and then just to show you a little bit of the difference, I'm going to sweep the other way too. And you just kind of do it in a myriad of directions, and when you do that, it will cause it to crack in both directions. So let me give that just a hint to dry. I hope that's not too awful loud. It's another one of the things I'm figuring out today is what tools can I use and how noisy do they get. I don't have to worry too much about being heard. I have a big voice usually. Okay, so same thing again. See, I have wet globby glue going in all different directions there, and I'm just going to take my paint. The paint direction does not matter in this. You don't have to match it to your glue. You just need to get the glue while it's still wet and tacky covered with a layer of paint. You can do this backwards depending on how you want it to look. So always think about what base color you might want to see peeking through and what top color you want for your main addition. Okay, let's give this one a dry. Oh, look. There it goes. See it? There it goes. Okay, so you can see on this one where I brushed the glue in different directions, we have crackles going different directions. You could really get creative with this and try to match a leaf pattern, but just for comparison, here's the pumpkin that we just did up and down glue strokes, And here is the leaf that we did all directions of paint strokes. Okay, so the other thing that I love to do, and we will do lots of if you hang out with me very much, is decoupage. To do decoupage, you need a little bottle of Mod Podge. You don't need expensive and you don't need a lot. Sometimes they sell small bottles at the Dollar Tree. Sometimes I think I should buy it in a tanker truck, but that's just me, and it doesn't have to be you for us to have a good time here together. But I want to show you then the same technique I do on lots and lots of things is after I crackle, I will take a decorative napkin. Any of you that have watched any of this today, either live or on a replay later, if you let me know that you were here and give me your mailing address in a message, not on here, I'll send you a few little napkins in there. So this is a pack of napkins that I picked up at the thrift store. You can find pretty napkins anywhere, honestly, anywhere. And I should have opened the Mod Podge because you know the paint was glued shut and Mod Podge is glue, but we got it. All right, so a little trick from my friend Jane in the crafting world is you take your Mod Podge lid and you get a little bit of Mod Podge on your finger. Yes, that is Mod Podge and paint. And if you do this a little bit, you'll know napkins come with more than one layer, right? And you just pinch the 2 layers and they will come apart. Some napkins have 3. This is 3, not this. This is 3. So I always check, I give it another pinch. And sure enough, this one has 3 layers. When you're decoupaging with a napkin, it's important that you only use the top layer. So in this case, I've removed 2 layers. Sometimes your package will say if it's 2 or 3 ply, but there you go. You gotta know. You gotta know. And this one is way bigger than what I need, but I like the little gather with grateful hearts. And I think on our little pumpkin, we can just get those words with a hint of the flowers. And I'm okay with that. I think we'll try it. So normally with napkins, you try to pre-tear a little bit, remove a little bit. Sometimes I'm really particular with it, and today I'm not. So that's that. That's just the truth of it. So Mod Podge looks just like school glue. So I'm going to use my same school glue brush. It won't make one bit of difference. I am going to just brush on a layer of the Mod Podge right onto my crackled pumpkin. I love the way the napkin looks and picks up the detail of the crackle. Now there are so many methods for putting Mod Podge on surfaces, and they are all effective. They're just different in different ways. You can dry this and then lay the napkin on dry and then iron it with an iron, and the heat will reset it. For us today, since we're just playing out here, I'm just gonna kind of try to center my little saying the way I want it and lay it on there while the Mod Podge is wet. And then I'm just gonna take my brush with more Mod Podge. It doesn't take a whole lot. It's pretty thin. And I am just gonna put another coat right over where I am. Okay. And now that I have sealed it in, you can see it's already pulling away on the edge. I'm gonna set this one over here and I'm gonna let it dry. And I'm gonna do one more of these. And then I'm gonna try a different pattern on the leaf. The leaf is gonna give us more challenges later as the Mod Podge is dry. And I want to try to show you that if I can with the time constraints we have. Because you know, I gotta go back to the dentist. Okay, so I'm just trying to get my saying somewhere toward the middle. And when you're brushing on top of your napkin, let me try to get you up here a little bit. Whenever you lay your napkin down, I don't know if you can see it, it's gonna get a little air bubbles in it. So if you'll put your brush down in the middle and get a little puddle and then push your Mod Podge out from the middle. Now this works very well on smaller areas and not so great on bigger areas. But for this, it works just fine. And you're just gonna give it a little coating cover. Okay, so now we have our leaf, and we have some choices to make. I had thought about doing the napkin in an area where it didn't have the words so that all of our pieces were coordinated. Or I have this napkin that I just really think is beautiful. That would give us a totally different look. I've got peaches, pears, I don't know, what are those? Apples? I got fruit. I got fall colored fruit napkins. But I'm really curious to see how these look. So let's give this a go. Same thing. These are a big, beautiful napkin. Napkins are the best financial value in the entire crafting world, in my opinion, because a pack of napkins, even a really fancy pack of napkins, is only going to set you back $5. And you're going to get anywhere from 24 to 50 sheets of craft material that you can use. Okay, so I have a plan for this little border piece here that I want to try in a few minutes. So I am just going to size up my little leaf here and try to tear off a section that's big enough. They sell a lot of little tools that will help you tear your napkins beautifully. They're called, what I prefer is called a water pen. And yes, I have one, and no, I don't have it in my hands today. So there you go. Okay, so this will kind of look like this, and a little bit of that fall. So here's again my layer of Mod Podge, just laid on there. And then I'm gonna line up my little napkin in the way it best fits my little leaf. I'm gonna find the middle, and I'm gonna brush my Mod Podge out all the way around. Okay, so here we go. And now let me show you the back, because don't get discouraged or frightened. This is what it looks like right now, and we're perfectly good with that. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be just fine, just fine, just fine. Okay, uh-oh, I just pulled a hole in that napkin. Let me show you. I hold it with my finger, and when I moved my finger, it got a tiny little hole right there. And while everything is still nice and wet, sorry, it's really hard to do that where I can't see it, you can kind of massage that napkin right back where you need it to cover that hole as best you can. Okay? All right, so I'm gonna let and set those dry for just a few minutes. And I am gonna spin around right here and grab a pair of scissors. Because the other thing I'd really been wanting to try, and I had on my personal calendar for today while I was out here, is I wanted to take just the beautiful floral border on this napkin that I think would work for any season. And I picked up a couple of these little wax pillar candles. These are from Dollar Tree as well. They look like this before I took the little label off. And I would like to try, I've been wanting to try, to make some little custom candles. And look at that, that border fits that candle just perfectly. And my understanding of this is all you have to do to make this work is you get to your one layer of napkin. You need a candle that is really wax. It can be a wicked candle like this one, or it can be one of the LED candles. And if this turns out, we'll tackle some more expensive candles later. And as long as it has a real wax coating, and the ones I've seen, the LED ones, it'll say real wax. But you just take your napkin and you get it, oops, we are not in the same frame. You get it lined up where you want it, and then you just need something to heat it up. And it can be anything. You can use a hairdryer, anything at your disposal. and you just warm it. Okay. You warm that up enough to melt the wax, just enough to get that to stick. And so let me clear a little bit of space here so I can maybe get this in a place where I can hold it, not burn my hands off, and where you can actually see what's going on. All right, may get a little loud, I don't know. There we go. Okay, so the trick is after a few seconds, I began to smell the scent of the candle. And when I did that, the wax began to melt. And now the melted wax is holding my tissue paper on. So I'm just going to continue to roll my tissue paper around and stick it to the candle all the way around. You can see, I don't know if you can see, let me see. I don't know if you can see, let me see if you can see, and we'll all see together. That's how that went. Can you tell a difference? If I could get it in there, you can actually see the wax begin to melt and come through your 1 ply of napkin. So now we're stuck just a little bit short of halfway, and we're just gonna keep going around. Just kind of smooth it down. Although it's not, I'll be honest with you, it's not very picky. I think it would stick pretty good no matter what. Oh, I'm just taking a section at a time. I can start to smell the scent of the candle. Thank goodness it's something good. I like my candles to smell clean. If I'm gonna put an air freshener or a candle in my house, its main use is to convince you that I have cleaned recently. And so it's going to smell clean. What about you? Let me know in the comments, what kind of candle smells do you like? Do you like it to smell like dessert? Do you like it to smell like a flower garden? What do you like? I'm going with clean. Okay, a little bit more here and we'll be around. Oh man, I wish you could see that the way I can see it. You can see the wax just melt as you go around and come right through the candle. You see the sheen now that we have on that? That's actually the candle melted, and the napkin is then held. Okay, so we have this little bit of overlap right here, and I'm just going to take the same scissors I used to originally cut the napkin. This is not perfection either. Nothing I do is perfection. Whether I make it here or whether I make it in the kitchen, it's not. And like I said, you got to be okay with that kind of thing, or we won't get to enjoy the things we're trying to do, right? Okay, one more. Got it super sticky and melty. We're just going to peel that around, and look at that. Look at that. We took that little $1.25 candle from the Dollar Tree, and we turned it into a beautiful little seasonal patterned gift. And that's just a bonus, but now that I've done that, I gotta tell you, I kind of like it, and I could see some gifts for Christmas or birthday right around the corner. All right, folks. Thank you so much for any of you that watched even a minute of this, and to any of you who might catch it later on the replay. I am going to finish these up, and I will post a picture of them. When we have dry Mod Podge, which I don't yet, so I may totally tear this up, and if I do, it's okay. When the Mod Podge is dry, you're just going to take a little bit of sandpaper. All right, I got to hold it where it's not gluey, and you just come across it at this kind of an angle. Remember that our napkin is just that 1 ply, so it's very, very thin, and we can just take that extra napkin right off. Get that little groovy there. Getting that one, okay. And you see that this is my paint that I have to fix the edge on, which I'm going to do. And this is where the napkin has come off. So I'm going to finish up on these and let you guys go for now. And I may pop back on and show you, but if not, I'll show you a picture with a little explanation of how I finish. I'm thinking a little bit of rope glued around the edges will be beautiful and cover my paint. And, you know, probably a little ribbon or doodad on the thing. Thank you guys. I think everything looks okay. Let me know in the comments or in a message if you see anything, if you think the lighting's bad, if the noise is too loud. Give me some hints and I'll go back and watch. And then hopefully when we do official first live tomorrow, I'll be good to go. Love you guys. See you later.